In question 23 we're given this calculation, which is 836 times 27. So let me write that here. Now to do column multiplication, we simply take every digit from the bottom number and multiply it by every digit at the top. So I'll do 7 times 6, 7 times 3, 7 times 8. Then I'll move on to the 2 and I'll do 2 times 6, 2 times 3 and 2 times 8. So let's start that. 7 times 6. So let's do our 7 times table. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. So 7 times 6 is 42. So now I said before we can't write 2 digits in one column. So this 4 will have to get carried over to the next column. So the 2 goes here and we carry the 4 over to the next column. Now I do 7 times 3. And 7 times 3 is 7, 14, 21. Plus the 4 that we've carried over. So that makes it 25. Put the 5 down, we carry the 2 over to the next column. And now we do 7 times 8. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 2 more. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56. So we can stop there. Now 7 times 8 is 56. Plus this 2 we've carried over makes it 58. So we put the 8 in this column and we carry the 5 over, and we can write that straight down because we've finished with that calculation at the top. Now I'm going to move on to the digit 2. So I'll rub these out because it'll make it much easier. Now because I'm moving on to the tens column, I'm going to put a helper 0. It's like a placeholder, it just makes the calculation much easier. So my first step is to do 2 times 6. And 2 times 6, I'm just going to double 6, which is 12. So I put the 2 down and I carry the 1 over to the next column. Now I'm going to do 2 times 3. That is 6. Plus the 1 we've carried over is 7. So I'm going to put 7 down here. And finally I'm going to do 2 times 8. And if I double 8, I get 16. So I put the 6 down in this column and I can carry the 1 over to the next column. I can write that straight down because we finished there. That was the last calculation. So now I simply need to add these two numbers. 2 add 0 is 2. 5 add 2 is 7. 8 add 7 is 15. So I put the 5 down and I carry the 1 over. Now 5 add 6 is 11, plus this 1 I've carried over is 12. So I put the 2 down and I carry the 1 over. 1 plus 1 is 2. And that is the calculation. 1, 2, 3, comma. So this is thousands. So it's 22,572. Now I could have done this using the grid method, so let's try that here. So I'm going to partition the 836 or split it up. So I've got 8 in the hundreds column, so that's 800. And 3 in the tens column, which is 30. And 6 in the ones or the units column, so that is 6. Now I'm going to partition this number and put it down here. So 2 is in the tens column, that is 20. And 7 is in the ones or the units column, and that's there, 7. So let's start with this, 20 times 800. What I'm going to do to make this easy, I'm going to hide these two zeros and this 0. So 2 times 8 is 16. Now I'm going to bring 1, 2, 3 zeros back. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to do 20 times 30. As before, hide this 0 and this 0. So I do 2 times 3, which is 6, and I bring these 2 zeros back. Now I do 20 times 6. So I'm going to hide this 0. So I do 2 times 6, which is 12. And then I simply bring this 0 back. So 20 times 6 is 120. Now I'm moving on to 7 times 800. So I'm going to hide these 2 zeros. And 7 times 8 is 56. We did that earlier, so I'm going to write 56 down. And I'm going to bring 1, 2 zeros back. 1, 2. Now I'm going to do 7 times 30. Again, I'm going to hide this 0. So 7 times 3 is 21. And I'm going to bring this 0 back. And my final calculation is 7 times 6. And that is 42. My next step is now to add all these together. So I have to be careful how I line them up. So let me do column addition here. 16,000, 600, 120, 5,600, 210, and finally 42. So 0 add 0 add 0 add 0 add 0 add 2 is 2. 0 add 0 add 2 is 2. Add 1 is 3. Add 4 is 7. 0 add 6 is 6. 6 add 1 is 7. 7 add 6 is 13. 13 add 2 is 15. So I have to put the 5 down and carry the 1 over to the next column. Now I have 6 add 5 is 11. Add this 1 makes it 12. So I put the 2 down and I carry the 1 over to the next column. And finally it's 1 add 1 is 2. So I put this down here. As before, 1, 2, 3, comma. So this is our thousands. So it's 22,572 as before.